We're going to make plays. We're going to play hard. We're going to do what we got to do. O-line, D-line, toughness, 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 toughness.
Hey, Buckeye Nation. Welcome to the Buckeye Cast, your only commercial-free Ohio State football podcast. These guys were born and bred in the Buckeye State, and they like to talk Buckeye football and drink bourbon. Subscribe and leave a review wherever you get your podcast. Now, pour a drink and pull up a stool. Here's your host, Joe Warwick.
What is up? We are back. We are back once again. Oh, coming off that huge Rose Bowl win, it feels so good. If you don't think it's a big win, then imagine losing that game. Okay, folks? So that is a big win. We're carrying some momentum into 2022. And as a program, I feel like we're getting started on the right foot. Tonight, got just Jeff on his own. Sean's dealing with some COVID issues, so we're going to let him rest up. And even though he might be a red ass most of the time, he's our red ass. So stay up, Sean, and hope this podcast finds you improving. As if you listen. If you listen, tap twice on the headphone. Anyways, folks, I imagine this week we're going to have at least one press conference, maybe two, announcing some coaching changes and things like that. So keep an eye out on the Buckeye Cast podcast feed. We will be feeding those to you. And I definitely think they're going to announce Jim Knowles officially and let him meet with the media this coming week. So keep an eye out. Bourbon talk this week. I actually tried Angel's Envy again for the first time since I had COVID back in September.
Oh, your taste buds have been a little off.
It's very different. Like, I don't recall it. It tasted better to me, honestly. So to start off with that, but like, it wasn't as thick and syrupy. It's still sweeter than I prefer for most bourbon, but it was better than I remembered. So that's an upside. So I don't have to give that bottle away or whatever. But so yeah, do you have anything new on tap?
No, not really. Got me a nice bottle of Old Forester. Yeah. I got a bottle from a customer of mine, Kentucky bourbon, Dawn of the Living Dead, like the TV show, had the TV show type logo on it.
Right.
Not bad bourbon. Not bad. Sipped on it through my travels to Tennessee last week. So did not get any Tennessee whiskey while I was in Tennessee.
You're better off without it.
Yeah, we were, not that kind of trip.
It's not that kind of trip.
But yeah, that Dawn of the Living Dead.
Nice.
I'd never seen it before, but not bad bourbon. That Angel's Envy, I enjoy it. I like it like a full glass of ice. I can drink that pretty nice. But it is a little sweet sometimes.
And it's expensive. I think it's overpriced, honestly. $60 a bottle at ABC. That's too much.
Exactly.
I can name off like 10 other bourbons that are $30 that I would prefer over those.
Yeah.
But all right. So we're going to talk a little recruiting. Then we're going to talk about some roster changes, who's going to the NFL draft, who's undecided, things like that. And then we're going to touch on the portal. And we got a new player coming in from Oklahoma State following Jim Knowles. And then we'll talk some quick coaching changes. And I want to save a little time at the very end to give our picks on the college football playoff championship. So we're not going to do a deep dive into breaking down O-lines versus D-lines and things like that.
You can't make me. You can't make me talk about Georgia that much.
Yeah. I just realized the other day that Jake from State Farm is no longer on the team. So
he plays for the Giants. He was running the ball for the Giants today.
I saw him. Yeah, he looked awesome. So anyway, let's get our 3 recruits here. We'll start with interior O lineman, a 4-star, Carson Hensman out of Wisconsin. Huge pull for the Buckeyes. We never pull guys out of freaking Wisconsin, man.
No.
And especially guys that Wisconsin was interested in. So, like I said, 4-star interior, so he'll probably play guard. He did do some work at center while he was at the All-Star game. And 6'4", 280. Hammond, Wisconsin is where he's coming from. Number 6 in his position, number 2 in the state. So I think that bodes pretty well when you're coming out of Wisconsin as a lineman. Sounds like a good ranking.
You said number 6 interior lineman?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And
I didn't know
number 2
much about
in
him.
the state.
The name kind of caught me off guard. I didn't. I hadn't known anything about him. But when I saw he's from Wisconsin, I thought, well, we wouldn't be looking at somebody from Wisconsin that they're not looking at, and we
Right.
got him. So.
Right.
And I did see that he was all in, no wavering after the stud news.
Yeah. That's a good sign that with the news, you had to know that he was informed of that prior.
Sure. Oh, of course.
He did have a hard time. Like he didn't commit with the initial signing day early in the month, so he did have a hard time choosing between Wisconsin and Ohio State. But obviously, eventually made the right decision. So yeah, good to see that we have a real guard coming in. Seems like we've been tackle heavy for quite a while, so a legit guard is always nice, and he can do a little work at center as well. The other 2, Amari Abor out of Duncanville, Texas, 4-star defensive end, edge rusher, 6'4", 240. Number 4 at his position, number 8 out of the state of Texas. So this guy's a legit stud. The only concern is that he said he's still going to take visits. You know, when a guy commits and then in his commitment interview he says he's still going to take visits, not a great sign. So
no, because what does that mean? He's still waiting to hear about some deals. Like what some teams are offering.
Today's day and age, it could be about the dollars and the cents.
Yeah, especially where he's at and who else he's looking at.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure A&M, if they've spent as much money as has been reported, they're not afraid to spend a little bit more.
Oh yeah, I mean,
I don't even know where he was intending to take visits, but I'm guessing it would be Texas, Bama, one of those places that maybe he hasn't been to.
Right.
But yeah, he was a big name. It was a big name. I heard his name this time last year about 2022 kids. With this, Amari Abor was on the list.
Yeah. And then the third one was 4-star, just committed Saturday, Hero Canoe from Santa Margarita Catholic in California. Interesting here, he's a D tackle, but he's 6'5", 293. That's pretty tall for a D tackle, right?
Yeah. Reminds me of Draymond. It looks a lot like Draymond Jones.
Yeah. Lean.
Yeah.
Yeah,
he looks like a pretty built. I looked at like he carries 295 pretty well.
Yeah. He had a great workout with Larry Johnson last summer, and he ended up. So he's from Germany, but I think he's originally from California. For some reason, he was going to school in Germany, and came over on like a travel group, and they were traveling, hitting big campuses and camps, So he ended up skipping the next day's camp at Michigan and working out with Larry Johnson 2 days in a row in Columbus. So there's definitely a connection there, and he's been committed for a few weeks now at least, maybe longer. And they just kept it hush-hush. He wanted to do the All-Star game announcement, So
I got you.
They kept it under wraps, and Saturday he announced. So happy to see him come on board. We definitely need the D-line depth.
Sure, of course.
So, yeah, this class is coming around. It's coming around. It's third. according to average player ranking. So I don't rate by total composite points. I go by per
Right.
player. That's the only like fair way to do it, because you got A&M here with fucking like 28 dudes, you know.
Right. Yeah, I know Bama was at 27. Somebody else was at 27. Texas might have been at 27. We're at 19.
Right.
Back when I looked at, so, but I was looking at the average star rating too. I was like,
Yeah.
the average, the number rating. I was like, we're killing these guys.
Right. We got
we're not gonna
21.
oversign.
Yeah, we got 21 now, but A&M has 28, Georgia has 27, Texas has 28, Bama has 24, Penn State
Okay.
24. So I'm looking at the
Georgia.
top 6 here.
Yeah.
And these guys are all hitting the 25 threshold or over it, you know, which is still frustrating that we can't all get on the same page, but that's never going to happen. So
Yeah.
2 5-stars in this class and 17 4-stars. We'll take it. So leading into the roster changes, guys staying and going. As of right now, this is what I got. This is up to date. I haven't been on Twitter in the last 30 minutes. So as of right now, going to the draft, we got NPF, Ruckert, Tyreek Smith, and Master Teague. Okay? Definitely returning, I just have Cam Brown. Okay.
He's the only one that has announced for sure.
Yeah. And then undecided. So I got 2 guys that are undecided but participated in senior day at Ohio State. So that means they did the walk, you know, with their parents and all that. Seven Banks and Mitch Rossi. Mitch Rossi. I think his mom's name is Janice.
Janice, yeah.
Janice Rossi.
Used to live in
4R.
4R.
It's a whore. But anyways, other undecided guys who could go and are, you know, could be portal options as well. Not necessarily go to the draft, but these guys could go to the portal. You got Jerron Cage, EA, you got Taraja, you got Noah Ruggles, Zach Harrison, Dwan Jones, Teron Vincent. But highlight, we do have another returning guy. May not be your favorite, but he is mine. Bradley Robinson, long snapper, returning for a 7th season. So there's that.
7 years. How is
Yeah.
that possible?
I don't know. He's on the Sean Clifford program, I guess. But so that's the status we have of everybody that we could see going as of right now. In the portal, we just got a guy, safety from Oklahoma State. We speculated about this over a week ago. Remember this? Tanner Mcallister. He's a 2-year starter at safety for Oklahoma State. He has 1 more year. This will be his final season of eligibility. He played this position for Oklahoma State called a strike safety, and it's kind of a corner safety hybrid. So I guess you could call him maybe a cover safety, you know, something like that. Spent a lot of time in the box, working against slot receivers and providing run support. So with Ransom now with a broken leg, basically the same injury as Proctor, compound leg fracture, and then Proctor, you know, still recovering from his. They do say that Proctor's ahead of schedule. This guy is going to definitely add some depth to that much needed safety, you know, room, you know.
For sure.
We do have Cam Martinez. He played a lot of like dime corner, you know, and then a little free safety later in the season. And then we got the 2 young guys, Sonny Styles and Kai Stokes, which hopefully we don't need them to see the field, you know. So this Mcallister guy looks sharp. I like him. Didn't put up massive numbers, but he had like 45 tackles or something like that this year. Seems like a solid dude, and he knows the system, right? So he can be like a coach on the field.
I'm all for it. It definitely because of the depth. We have, you know, two starting defensive backs coming back from major, you know, leg injuries. one of them just happened, so Ransom's going to be out a while. I think it's great. He knows the defense. He can help help the kids. He understands what the coach is going to be telling him. It's going to be important for him to come in and help institute the system on the field with the guys. After practice and just kind of help direct them on the field. So I don't know. Yeah, we don't know if he's going to step in and become like our go-to defensive option, but nothing can't be. I don't think it can be a bad thing. Sometimes you wonder bringing transfers in how the room would accept them. I see, unless this guy's like a total asshole, I would think he would come in. He's going to be welcomed by the defensive coaching staff, which is huge. So that that the coaches are believing in him, then it's going to help the players kind of follow along, hopefully. Right. So I think it's a smart move.
Yeah, I think forget hurting egos or shit like that. With losing Craig Young and Marcus Williamson, we're in dire straits. Like we're looking at Marcus Hooker as the senior.
Yeah, is he leaving? Is he gone?
No, he has another year.
Oh, because
then you got Hickman, Shaw. So, I mean, you got guys recovering from injury. Court Williams, I see, is more of a in-the-box kind of almost linebacker at his size. You got a bunch of young guys that haven't really played much with Jansen Dunn, Kalen Johnson, and Andre Turrentine.
A couple of those guys, was it Kalen Johnson had a knee injury early in the year?
Right.
One of the freshmen did. I think he got injured on kickoff or something.
Probably. So my point is, we need the depth. Forget egos and people worrying about playing time. We need the depth, and we need guys that know the system too and are going to be reliable. Because let's not forget. I mean, we love Josh Proctor, but he's a little bit of a headhunter, not a Jordan Fuller type. He got better, but we haven't seen him in a year. Or 9 games or whatever.
Yeah, we need that. We need that guy that can stop outrageous, huge plays from happening. Where Shaw wasn't, maybe a step late, or or just flat out tried to arm tackle, and then it's the last line of defense. You can't have it. You need, and we'll know. We don't know if we're going to be going back to the single high safety look, or what the defense will really look like. So. Depth is depth, and it sounds like it can't go wrong.
Right.
I mean, as soon as I say that, it'll all go wrong. But I think
don't know until they're on the field, at least.
No, it made a perfect move, and we got that linebacker.
Right, Diamante Trainum from Akron. Yeah, through Arizona State, coming in. We talked about him last show to play linebacker. Has only played running back in college though. So, how many running backs do we need to convert to linebacker before we have like ample depth?
Right.
It's a little concerning, but 3 years of eligibility. If he doesn't really have to be on the field this year, I guess you could say, but maybe down the road, I don't know.
I mean, with 3 years eligibility, come in for a year, learn. He'll be learning the system new just like everybody else. But he was a big time linebacker in high school.
Right.
Steel Chambers, I think will look a lot better next year, hopefully, than this year. We need.
He's got to put on some weight, man. That dude's too small to be playing inside.
And when I'm watching Tommy Eichenberg playing like 90% of the snaps because there's literally no one else, we need depth. Always need depth.
Yeah. So, that's where we're at on the portal. I wouldn't be surprised if we see some shuffling here between now and April, before the spring game. And you're always going to have some guys leaving after the spring game. That just happens, whether it's one or two or whatever, things become very obvious after the spring game, like I'm not even getting snaps in the spring game. I think I better move on, kind of thing. Coaches have to have that difficult talk, with the guys.
Sure.
So,
do we have any type of list, Joe? Or is there any type of information about who's coming in early in January, early enrollees that will be ready for spring?
I don't. Yeah, it's a good question. I'd have to check on that. But yeah, I think it was about half of the class.
Was it? I hadn't seen the list or anything of who was coming in, but yeah, I'm thinking about like position wise, are Hicks is coming in early, I know.
Yeah.
But I was just kind of curious, just where the position helps are coming from.
Right. Yeah, they don't really say if guys are an early enrollee on 24/7. I have to dig that up. They just say if they're signed or not.
Right.
Anyways, let's talk some coaching changes. As we all know, Jim Knowles is signed and sealed. Already started last week. He's in the building. And shortly after the Rose Bowl, we learned that Matt Barnes was out. He is taking a DC job at Memphis. One thing that Ohio State does well is if they're letting somebody go, they set them up with another job. They don't just cut them loose, Except in the case of Stud. Stud, his contract expired, and they just let it run out. They didn't renew it. So I spent 6 years with the Buckeyes. He's one of the most polarizing assistant coaches, don't you think? Because I hear a lot of complaining, especially on Twitter, about his fucking recruiting, and I can agree. I mean, he misses on a lot of guys. But he's developed a lot of guys, into quality NFL, picks. I mean, so he's one of the people I hear the most bitching about and the most defensive sometimes too.
Well, and I think he's directly correlated to the performance that we see on the field. When we see our offensive line get manhandled against Michigan, and we know the recruiting stats of those 5 guys on that line, and they get dominated, then it comes down. It doesn't come down to Tony Alford. Like, we couldn't run the ball for over 110 yards. Tony Alford, what's he teaching these guys? No, it just goes back to the old line.
Right.
C.J. Stroud was running for his life on a fucking stud. Couldn't get the line in shape.
Right.
So I think that's just a kind of a natural.
And it doesn't help when you see Georgia throwing Aiden Hutchinson around like a rag doll, the next week or the next game,
Right. And like to what you were saying is, Stud, he's been there 6 years. How many NFL linemen are there? I mean, there's guys in the NFL right now that he coached at Ohio State. NPF is an NFL lineman. Dwan Jones. I mean, look at the guys that,
that's what I'm saying. He's developed guys that maybe came in, maybe not like rough around the edges, maybe not so fundamentally strong, but he's developed them out. I mean, imagine if NPF, wasn't a high round pick right now. You'd blame it on Stud for not developing him, right? Because you can't just take a high school senior and expect him to be drafted into the first 2 rounds or whatever. So you got to give him credit. And I do agree with the recruiting misses. We touched on those in previous shows. Some of the guys he's missed out on, Zach Rice and the Jackson Carmens, and we've had like 3 high-end O-linemen go to Clemson just in the last few years. Seems like every class we've missed a guy, and we can go on and on, but. So he's out.
Latham from
Latham is a big one. Yeah, we thought we had him.
Alabama.
Yep.
You're right. There's a bunch of those that we were heavy on. We were in on. Everything. A lot of good news, and then we lose.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's all just, well, they came in with a bag of money. I don't think that's
No,
just with everybody,
no.
But
At least it hasn't
affected.
affected recruiting yet. All the O-line recruits for this class have not defected, have not even talked about, reopening their commitment or their recruitment. So that's a
Right.
good sign. It also tells you that there's communication probably from Ryan Day to these recruits about what's going to happen.
Oh, and at the same time, though, too, we don't have a, like an outstanding, stellar offensive line haul this year. It's not
Right.
laced. It's not. It doesn't have a Wyatt Davis in it, or a Paris Johnson. That 5-star, top 3 or 4 in the country at their position. So rumors about who's coming in.
Yeah.
Pretty exciting.
Yeah, Justin Fry, current OC and O-line coach at UCLA under Chip Kelly, coming in. Looks like this is just a matter of hammering out the details of his contract, but he's looking at probably being O-line coach and run game coordinator, so they can boost his salary a little bit more.
Sure.
38 years old, so he's pretty young, almost Ryan Day's age. They've worked together, multiple stops. He started 45 straight games as an O lineman at Indiana. 45 straight games. That's got to be some kind of record at Indiana, man. So he's got Big Ten ties, which is good. He knows the conference. He was a GA under Herb at Florida at 09 and 2010 when Ryan Day was a GA there. O-line coach at Temple in 2011 and 2012. Worked with Day at Boston College 2013 to 2018. Then he started at UCLA in 2018. It's been there since. One highlight, he improved Boston College and UCLA's running games to over 200 yards per game after he took over. And both of these were like around 100 yards per game. So huge improvements there, as you're just talking about the running game and who you blame, when you can't run the ball. He's done the work, it seems. So the recruiting is the big question mark. So we go from stud, who might not have been the most active recruiter, let's call it, to a guy that has only landed 2 4-stars in, let's call it, the last 8 years. But he's working for Boston College and UCLA.
That was going to be my point, yeah.
So you got to think a younger guy is going to have a leg up when it comes to recruiting, right? I mean, he's going to...
More relatable.
He's going to be able to relate to recruits more. And he's going to be more energetic.
I think it goes a long way to have a former player, a guy that played at a high level, at the level that you're recruiting kids to, that big D1 football level. Like you said, he played 45 straight games at Indy.
Yeah.
You're only in school 4 years typically.
Yeah. And they don't go to too many bowls.
No, I don't know how he. That's every game that they played the 4 years he was there. It sounds
just
like.
About. Yeah.
So I think that goes a long way too. With these players, they're kind of being 38. It was still business. He can speak to the business of college football.
Mm-hmm.
So, shout to Zach Smith. He was all over this hiring. He says Justin Fry will bring in the #1 recruiting class in O-lineman next year. He feels that confident about it as far as this guy's potential and talent.
Yeah, they're pretty close friends.
Yeah.
So
I mean, well, good. I mean, yeah, he's never walked into those college or those high schools with the block O on his jacket.
Exactly.
That can go a long way. Whereas he might be a great coach, and players might sit down with you, but they're gonna say, well, "Coach, you're at Boston College. I like what you're saying, but
Right.
I'm looking to play at a higher level."
Exactly.
So
yeah. What else do we have here? That's all I have on Justin Fry. His name really sounded familiar when I first heard it. It must have been from watching, Ohio State beat up on Indiana years ago. So, on the rest of the coaching front, I'm hearing that Combs is retiring, and Jim Knowles wants to bring in his own guy anyway. So it might be a mutually beneficial kind of situation there. I am surprised that Al Washington is getting one more season. I'm
They
not a
just
fan.
signed that big contract,
I know.
contract last year.
Yeah, that was stupid, man. I don't know why Ryan Day felt the need to do that. Maybe it was for recruiting purposes, because they were in on Gabe Powers and C.J. Hicks, and he didn't want to upset the apple cart,
Maybe. But yeah,
So-
and plus we had just lost some other coaches, so he was maybe looking to, because the old man Greg Madison,
Madison, right?
Madison had just left, and maybe he was trying to just for continuity purposes. Hey, I don't want to have too much overturn this year with Kerry coming in, come back stuff. So
Right. Yeah, so I say if Washington gets another offer, let it ride. Because Jim Knowles is a linebacker coach also, so he could probably take on that role if he had to, or bring in somebody else.
I know a guy that used to play linebacker, just got hired as a linebacker coach recently. Probably could have fit.
Yeah, I wonder why that didn't work out. I would be curious to know.
He's around that Columbus area. Just
Yeah,
bought a new house and-
I would like to know what happened there with Laurinaitis.
He's kind of hinted at it that
Right,
there was
he's-
some other avenues were looked at, but
didn't work out. Yeah.
Yeah, he was real political, real safe about it and respectful. He didn't. But that's what it sounds like. It sounds like he wanted to work at Ohio State, and they didn't have a job for him.
Well, I mean, you can't just go firing people because a guy that used to play there who hasn't coached even high school ball wants a job. So I get both sides of it, I mean, it would be super convenient for Laurinaitis to take that job if it were offered to him, but Ryan Hartline did not come in as a position coach. He was a GA, So for a couple of years before the Zach Smith stuff blew up and he was handed the job, So maybe Laurinaitis wasn't willing to take a lesser role than position coach, even though it's his first gig. Just saying, we don't know. I'm just saying maybe you go to the high school level in Columbus once for a year or two, and kind of prove your chops, and then you get you can maybe bump up to a position coach immediately. But I think it's a little aggressive for Marcus Freeman. First of all, for him to get the head coaching job. I mean, these Irish fans are fucking insane now. And then to bring in Laurinaitis with no experience, this is like two guys with no experience. It's like, okay, guys, how many coaches are you going to hire without any experience?
Yeah.
I mean, I love Laurinaitis to death. I hope this is the beginning of his path back to OSU. After 2 or 3 years with the Irish, maybe he has a good start to his career as an LB's coach, and maybe he comes back to Ohio State as a DC or LB's coach or whatever, because we know that's where he wants to be, right? I mean, ultimately. So maybe this is just the beginning of that path back.
Yeah, or it could be a 20-year marriage with Marcus at Notre Dame. If it were to work out there, since they're both, you never know. I mean, I can understand why Notre Dame fans are excited. They have a much better recruiting coach, but you're also taking away a lot of. Brian Kelly did a pretty good job at Notre Dame. I do not like Brian Kelly one bit, so I am not in favor of him. But just speaking the truth, he got Notre Dame to about where they can be, maybe a playoff contender.
Right. He was not a good recruiter.
No.
That's the word around the campfire, is that he was like almost hands off with recruiting. So it seems like he left it to all of his assistants, and so they're kind of taking a swing in the opposite direction with Marcus and going with a guy that's a great recruiter, can relate to the players, super young, all that stuff, and Laurinaitis too. I think that's going to be a difficult position for him. He's never had to do that before. The recruiting aspect, I think, is going to be the most challenging for him.
Sure.
So we'll see how it goes. But other than that, as far as assistant coaching changes, we don't have word on anything else happening. So
that's enough, though. I mean, we got.
No, we don't need more.
We're going to be changing four new coaches on the staff.
Yeah.
By the time if Jim Mills brings in a guy
for the secondary.
Yeah. So the two of them.
O-line.
New O-line.
DC.
Yeah. So the coordinator, a linebackers coach. If Washington probably stay. So maybe just three coaches added.
And it sounds like we're going to get one more year out of Larry Johnson. So I don't look for him to retire this year. But, man, next year we're going to be fucking sitting on pins and needles, man, after that season. So we'll take it as much as we can get.
We got a nice little haul with the D-line this year, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Here with the new Kenyatta Jackson. I think we got a lot of the names that were on our list. It sounds like.
Yeah. So I want to get into this NIL charity. So you guys may not have heard of this. This just jumped off Twitter last night. Brian Schottenstein, you might have heard the name around the Columbus area.
It's on the big building that they play basketball in.
Exactly.
Name.
So he is starting a charity similar to what the University of Texas is starting. I think it's going to be a 501(c) type of charity.
Right?
Yep. So anybody can give to that fund, and that fund is going to it's going to Ohio State athletics, student athletes, and they're supposed to launch it by the spring game. They're supposed to announce it soon. Well, they announced that they're doing it, and it's supposed to be ready to go, up and running by the spring game. So that's like middle of April. What his tweet was, Brian's tweet last night was, "We are going to create the biggest NIL charitable fund in the country, and this will also be fan-based. So anybody can contribute to the student athletes who help out local charities." So this is in conjunction with the student athletes working with charities. So, maybe they go to a fundraiser or some kind of event and they get paid, a check at the end of the night. So makes sense. I like it. Everybody wins. People helping people.
Right. The kids are getting that extra money that they want.
Yeah.
But those, they're going to have to commit a few more hours.
Yeah, it's not just a car commercial.
Yeah, and it's all gonna, and obviously it's in conjunction with the school. It's not going to be in spite of football time. You know what I mean? Right. It's not going to be scheduled where you got to make the decision: do we go to the film study or do we got to go with this 2-hour thing over here for the charity?
Right.
It's all. I'm sure that's all going to be worked out, and it's going to be, I guess scheduled together, like with both parties in mind. It's not going to be something that could cause, I guess. I'm trying to look for the word, Joe.
Well, it can't be a pay-for-play scenario where, if a guy's getting performing well on the field, he gets a bigger check. It can't be that. That's against the NCAA rules. Mm-hmm. And we know the Buckeyes follow those to a T. So, and Cardale Jones is going to be like the face of the program along with Schottenstein. Those guys are pretty tight. Cardale was at his wedding or in Schottenstein's wedding a couple months ago down at Mar-a-Lago. So anyways, Schottenstein's one of the most powerful guys in Ohio, and this program is going to be huge. It's going to keep Ohio State up with the all the other big programs in Texas and so on. You know, I'm not sure we're going to be able to fork out 30 mil if that number is accurate, but definitely going to keep us, you know, in the top 5 in the country.
Yeah, and it has to.
That's key. Yeah.
We got to get something. We got to get some guidelines of what everybody's allowed to do and what we're not allowed to do.
Yeah.
You know, because even if Ohio is going to be on the level that Texas is and Georgia, then we can compete with those schools. But like for even I say a Notre Dame or an Oregon, like they shouldn't be. You know, I don't know. They shouldn't be not just because their state laws aren't the same. They shouldn't be at that much of a disadvantage. I don't think that's fair. Yeah, everybody should be who can play by the rules the best and who can execute the best. That's one thing, but you got to have all the same.
And it's different.
There's got to be some uniformity to what can be done state by state. I don't know why. Why state law supersedes everything else.
And that's the challenge right now is every state's so different, you know. So we'll see how things pan out there. I think I heard Nick Saban make some comments today about NIL. He's basically saying the same thing where we need to have a national policy where everybody's on an even playing field.
Well, he doesn't like Texas A&M spending $30 million for a class either.
No. Yep.
And Jimbo's got ranches, you know.
Yeah. Imagine how many millions it takes to have ranches and the number 1 class in the country.
Yeah.
Sheesh. That's the latest on the NIL Buckeye side. It is good that we are keeping pace with the rest of the country. We do want to get into quickly. I don't know. We'll do a minute on the Rose Bowl. The records, the fucking records. C.J. Stroud goes for 573, 6 touchdowns, 1 interception. Jackson, Smith, and Jigba, Jesus, all-time, all bowl game record, 347, 3 touchdowns, untouchable. And Marvin Harrison, Route Man Marv, as CJ likes to call him, with 3 touchdowns. Have yourself a fucking day. Where do you want to start there?
Emeka Egbuka's kickoff returns.
Okay, I like that. That's solid.
We knew this is what we expected from all 3 of those guys. With Olave and Garrett being gone. Like, okay, well, I know JSN can catch 15 balls. Are we going to be able to get him the ball 15 times, you know? I don't know why they knew the offense at halftime, or Utah. I can't believe that they couldn't do a better job of stopping Jackson. And those weren't like those Devin Smith 60-yard bombs. We're just, we're just dropping bombs on people. This is catch and run, get a block from another receiver downfield, and then you're sprung for 40 or 50. Right. Just beautiful. Marvin Harrison, I was kind of disappointed in Julian Fleming's, appearance. But the rest
see
of
his fucking shoulder pop out.
Yeah,
he landed.
After that, I knew he was going to be done. But
I mean, he toughed it out and came back in. But geez, I felt bad for him because I think is that the same one he had surgery on.
I don't remember. I know he had surgery. He had a shoulder problem for a whole year, maybe his freshman year. I don't remember if it's which shoulder, but no. I mean, JSN, Marvin Harrison, phenomenal. And Mecca, it looked great. So nothing to not be excited about. With that offense. Man, CJ's. We wonder why Oh, play Quinn years. Why is Quinn not seeing the field? Because we got one of the best in the country.
That's the
Again.
last take ever.
Yeah, I mean, he's proven. This year he's one of the best in college, and now we've had that for a while.
Yeah.
We're always going to have a chance when the quarterback can sling it like that, because people will always come play for a quarterback.
Yeah, great day all the way around, but they knocked Cam Rising, the Utah quarterback out there, knock him out. Then Bryson Barnes comes in, leads him right down the fucking field with a touchdown to one of the tight ends, and it just turned into a score fest there in the fourth quarter. What did we score? 27 in the second half? Yeah. 17 in the fourth quarter alone. So great to have the comeback. Sucks we were down 35-21 at the half.
Disgusting defensive effort. Disgusting. I had told you I was at a place in Tennessee watching. All of a sudden, the place gathered 9 Utah fans out of nowhere. Like, I think they came out from the back. But, and I'm the only one listening to the game on the TV. Yeah. Nobody in the place. But all of a sudden, Utah starts scoring, and everybody's fucking go Utes in the back. So,
right.
But I could not believe our defensive effort. And to be honest, Joe, from what we had seen from this team, the last outing, I had no confidence that the second half was going to change. I did not. I had zero confidence that it was going to happen.
Right.
Nothing showed us that, these guys are getting smacked around. They're gonna tough it out and step up, because we hadn't seen that. Mm-hmm. I was impressed to see it.
The Buckeyes defense, they did make some changes at the half. I'm not sure I believe the rumor that Run DMC, Demario McCall, made an impassioned halftime speech that turned things around, but that's what they said happened, so it must be true, right?
He threw a punch in that game.
He did.
I saw the video of the Utah guy throwing a punch after the game.
Right.
I could not see who he was throwing that punch at.
Right.
I think it was Trey Henderson.
Really?
I think dude, and barehanded, with no, he wasn't even dressed. He was just probably a freshman or something. He threw that straight jab to Trey Henderson's forehead, and I'm like, man, I wonder if he fucked his hand up or not, because he hit him square in that helmet. I'm wondering, like, it's never a smart move.
Yeah.
Probably nothing will ever be done of it. Maybe the coaches staff there, maybe they saw it and they're gonna, get him right or whatever. But,
right.
But yeah, I saw Demario McCall was scrapping with somebody on a kickoff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I'll take any Demario motivational speeches I can get. Maybe he should run the camera on his own speeches so we could see that, instead of him running the camera on Coach Day last year. So maybe just flip that camera around and turn on yourself, Demario, and live stream that shit. But anyways, yeah, second half defense. They made some schematic changes, and I do realize that Tommy Eichenberg has 17 tackles. I will say they were not all
where they should have been.
They were not for short gains. Let's say that.
If you're constantly running people down and tackling, you can. Yeah, anybody can get a lot of tackles.
Yeah.
He missed a lot of plays. The wheel route, our defense just, we got linebackers trading off the running back in motion, and he just runs a straight wheel, and it's coming, and you just can't get there, because you didn't take off when you were supposed to.
But
we had no depth. I mean, we had nobody else. He played the whole game.
Well, this is a running team we're going against too,
Yeah.
So I'm not sure he's a starting linebacker against most Big Ten teams, even, especially, everybody except for Wisconsin and maybe Minnesota.
Right, but he was going to have to play that game. Simon was out.
Right.
him and Steele were on the field most of the whole time. I mean,
And Cade has to be linebacker. Forget the fucking tight end, man. He was bringing the juice, bringing the wood. Cade Stover is a linebacker. He wants to put his face through somebody.
Yeah.
You don't put that at tight end.
You see what you wonder what Jim Knowles will think. Looking through and evaluating everybody. Hopefully he sees that too, because I agree with you. Hopefully the coaching staff agrees and they just make that a full turn. So when he comes in the spring, he's working with the linebackers, and it's just depth.
Yeah, exactly.
Chambers, Simon, Eichenberg, Stover, and then with your freshmen, and we should have 4 or 5 new linebackers next year.
Yeah.
Just with guys that were freshmen or guys that were injured.
Yeah. So.
And you got the transfer coming in for depth and
training.
Experience.
Yeah. So let's.
He's got to learn a lot. Yeah, that's right. He's got to learn a lot. Stuff.
Exactly. It's a new system. Let's talk college football playoff national championship. I hear there's a game Monday night. Seems like it won't be very popular outside of 2 states in the lower 48. So right now I got Georgia favored by 2.5 on most books. Money line I got at a plus 115 for Bama, minus 135 for Georgia, over under of 52. So going to be super exciting. What do you think? How you leaning?
Georgia was favored when they played the SEC championship. Georgia was favored, I think, by 6.5, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And they got beat up. They hit Jameson over the top consistently.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not sure why Georgia is favored. I would not have. I would be picking Alabama. I'd give Alabama like a +3 or minus 3.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like given.
Right.
I would favor Bama here. So I'll take Bama with the points for sure.
Yeah, if you're giving Saban and Alabama points, this is like it's like betting against Bill Belichick and the Patriots, right?
Yeah, I'm not. I don't know why people. I don't know why. It surprises me that the betting favors Georgia here.
Yeah, I don't get it.
It's all them who played recently. They just played. Now granted, it's that old adage of it's tough to beat the same team twice. When you play recently like that.
Sure.
Yeah, well, the guy that's going for the second victory in a row, he's the greatest college football coach of all time.
Right.
Maybe the greatest college coach of any sport of all time.
Well, that and he's won 6 of these.
Yeah, he knows what to do in these games.
In the last 10 years.
It's a former assistant that he has shown domination over his assistants like a Belichick has. Jimbo's the only one that's gotten him.
Yeah,
so
exactly. And that was just this year.
Yeah.
So,
but Bama's not their team from last year either. They're not. They were able to run against Cincinnati, but their running game hasn't been consistent all year. Maybe they found something with Brian Robinson now, and he's getting going. But no Mechie. So Mechie was there in the title game. So those could all be factors. But Bama's got 5 stars everywhere, backing up 5 stars. So
yeah, there's a total of 33 5 stars between the 2 teams in this game. That's more than the Pac-12 and the Big 12 combined.
Yeah. If that's any good.
Fuck.
So it's experience versus inexperience, I guess.
Yeah.
But the talent's there on both sides. Yeah. I go Bama. I take the points. I pick Bama. As far as an over/under, you're looking at 52.5. So maybe like a 25-27, a 28-25 game.
That's what that's kind of what they're predicting, a 27-25 27-24 kind of scenario. I'm taking. I already took Bama money line at plus 120.
There you go.
And I went a little heavy on that one. And I'm also taking the first half under at 26.
I like that.
Total.
I like that. I like that first half under. I think I might go over for the game. That first half under. I like that.
Yeah. So yeah, under for the game, definitely. I would agree with that. Unless that fourth quarter gets into a shootout, you don't know if Bama finally cracks the seal and finds an opening in that secondary, which is possible.
Yeah. Georgia's secondary and Bama's run game are both not. Neither one are consistent.
But Job isn't playing for Bama, right?
Right. Job's out.
So that's another issue, and that George Pickens should be back to 100% for Georgia. So that helps their passing game. But and Brock Bowers, the tight end, is a stud down the seam and shit. So it's just
I think there might be that last score late that knocks you over.
Yeah.
So. But yeah, I think if Bama put 41 on them, I think in the SEC game, so they can be giving up some points in that secondary.
Yeah, I think it's going to be pretty tight. It's going to be one of those like heavyweight bouts in the first half where they just kind of feel each other out, and then make their adjustments at the half. That's why I went with the under for the first half. Mm-hmm. And second half, maybe they loosen up a little bit, and we'll see what happens. We'll see. I think Kirby's, I call Kirby the hillbilly Alec Baldwin. He looks like Alec Baldwin, doesn't he?
That's a strong pull. That's a strong pull.
So, did you see somebody on Twitter today posted a picture of them?
Alec Baldwin with fucking like Kirby Smart.
Yeah, I know. I got to get that trending. But they had a picture of Kirby Smart and Nick Saban sitting in chairs for today's press conference. It's like the last press conference, where the two coaches meet with a moderator. I think it was Reese Davis, asking them dumb fucking questions. Anyway, the photo put out by the College Football Playoff Twitter account said, conversation with two legends. And I replied, yeah, hillbilly Alec Baldwin is a true legend. But yeah, two legends. Other people were saying, yeah, Reese Davis is a legend.
Yeah, right.
Kirby Smart's a fucking legend.
Yeah, I wouldn't say he's a legend. Yeah. You got to win. You got to win your conference, at least. Yeah. He's won the conference once, I think, right?
Yeah.
He's not a legend. Reese Davis is closer to a legend.
Right.
What can you just say? The legend and the other guys playing. Yeah.
So, all right. Well, good show, Jeff. Hopefully we get Henry back next time. We're going to take probably a couple weeks off. I will be posting the press conferences as new coaches are announced and things like that. And hit me up on social. We'll keep you up to date on all the player changes, coming and going. But we'll be back in a few weeks when we talk a little more roster, and we'll start breaking down to two deep. And before you know it, spring game's going to be here in April. So
yeah, we'll get a little more clarification on the early enrollees. Who all's in, who's not. Right. But yeah, then we'll need to we'll get announcements. Should be this week as far as guys coming out or staying in. Zach Harrison, I think he needs to stay. He needs to come back another year. Yeah. So some of those guys, it's going to be, we'll have to find out what they decide. But
right.
Yeah, right. And the final signing day, February 5th, still, right?
Right. Yeah, I'm not sure it's going to affect us much at all. Honestly, I would be surprised if we bring in anybody around that date.
I knew it when we were at 18 for the early period. I knew we weren't done. But you said we still got kids that are committed, but maybe taking visits. So there might still be some shakeup. If there's still recruits out there uncommitted, remember this went till July last year. So
Yeah.
if there's a kid worth.
Yeah, I would say the portal might be the one place where we're going to bring in people. I think portal more so than recruiting. And I'm talking positions of need, So I would say that might be the more active personnel change area.
Yeah, I don't think there's a JTT situation out there that a guy's just not going to be committed at all. Especially not a top 10 guy. I mean, if we don't have him, A&M or Bama has him. So it seems like fucking A&M, man, they have 5 in the top 25.
Right.
Ridiculous.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll talk to you folks in a few weeks. And as I said, follow the show wherever you get your podcasts. Look for the Buckeye Cast, and we are there. Give us a little review if you would. Appreciate it. A little 5-star rating wouldn't break my heart. So, Jeff, good show. We'll talk to you soon.
Yeah, brother.
All right. Later.
Later.